Hey everybody, and welcome to Paper Crafting with Tammy. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. It is awesome to see you here. I have a great project for us today that we're going to start on in just a minute. If you haven't done it yet, take a minute and hit that big red subscribe button so you see what else I've got for you next time, and let's get started. Hey Paper Crafting friends, thanks for tuning in today. I wanted to start by just showing you the palette that I'm going to be working with for today's layout. These papers and sentiment cards are pulled from the November 2020 Kiwi Club Kit. So this is that Home Sweet Home kit, and the color palette is really just beautiful. So I picked a couple of sentiment cards. This one is When You Focus on the good gets better. And this one says, I never want to stop making memories with you. So I really love that burgundy and that teal together. And they're going to go really well with this. So we've got the floral and then just some patterned paper to go along. I'm just going to flip these so you can see without getting into any other papers. I've got some other choices using the back sides for any accents and embellishments. So I think I've got a good palette to work with, and I'm excited about that. I just want to remind you that this video is part of a collaboration, and there will be several videos linked down in the comments. Down in the description box. So don't forget to take a look down there. Leave a comment on each of the videos you visit, because each comment you leave is like an entry into the drawing. And this month, the template prize will be provided by Sandy Grant. So that's very exciting. If we look at that following Friday, that is December 4th. So that'll be the date that we do the drawing for a winner for leaving the comment. So good luck to you all, and thanks for joining us. And I'll be right back with a layout. For our layout today, I pulled in one of my favorite template sets. This is Abbey Road 3A and 3B. And so that's what this just curvy one is. And then if you look at the scallopy one behind it, that's part of the Funky Frills set. That is Funky Frills 3 and Funky Frills 4. Okay, so those layer really nicely with Abbey Road 3A and 3B. I know that they're mislabeled. The one that says it is layering with 3A actually layers with 3B and vice versa. You can tell pretty easily when you set them up against each other. So that's that. I want to use this Citrus 2 template to cut one of those embellishment cards. I think this one will work really well in this shape. That's going to fit over that really nicely. And then I just pulled out some flowers because this floral on this paper has some definite like 5 petal flowers. I thought something like this template here would work well. It's called Simple. So that one's Simple 3. Simple 1 just has 4 petals, but I thought it could kind of be tucking out from underneath or something. And then this leaf from the Bonnie set. So this is Bonnie 1T. Definitely reminds me of this leaf here. So I thought those would be a fun little embellishment to carry on that feel of the floral paper. So I was just picturing kind of a cluster along here. And then over on this other side, I pulled out this new template from the Expressions set. And I think this is going to fit really well over this I never want to stop making memories with you. So I was planning that to be over here. And then just that message is so sweet that I pulled out the a la carte together, because I think that'll be a fun little add-on to go with that message. And then maybe a flower down here poking out the bottom. We'll see. So this one is Bonnie 5T. And that could come over here as well. And then, let's see, this little stem is from the Simple set. It's called Simple 4. I just have it facing the other direction. And we'll kind of see how this starts to come together when I start choosing papers. I will tell you, yes, I have this laid out right now on this burgundy background, and I love this paper. I am going to be covering this whole top section with photos and this whole section with photos. I have a lot of beautiful pictures for this page that I don't want to even cut down. So my plan is, instead of using all of this burgundy paper, the only part that you're really going to see is this strip here and this strip here. So I am going to be working from just a white, solid white background. And I'm going to figure out how much of this, maybe I'll cut like a 3-inch strip of this burgundy. So I have plenty of room to have that showing. And then these are going to be cut from some different paper anyway. And then I'm going to show you how I can trim some small strips of this to make it look like those photos are still on that burgundy paper. So I'm going to show you a little trick today. So I hope that you are enjoying the video so far. My next step will be to start doing a little bit of paper cutting and getting everything ready for laying it out with the pattern papers. There's a tip that I want to show you when you are using these funky frills layered with the other templates. So if you look at how they sit when they're stacked, that scallop really just comes down and touches the other border, okay? So when you go to trace it, if you trace the entire thing at this height, you're really covering up, I don't know, 2/3 of it. So if you like to conserve paper, which is something that I really like to do, I would recommend that when you go to trace it, that you pull it down about 3/4 of an inch, so that you've got that, you're not wasting that paper. So when I go to trace the other, I have a couple of choices. If I think I would use this opposite piece, then I could go ahead and just do a straight cut and use it later to tuck behind a border. If I don't think so, then I can get this one just as close as possible, okay, so that I'm not wasting a lot. And I can go ahead and trace that frill, which is what I'm going to do now. So getting this traced all along this edge. And then again, because this is just going to be tucking behind the Abbey Road border, I know that what I really need is this scallop, right? So again, rather than cut the entire thing, I'm going to make my mark not here like I normally would for my straight cut, but I'm going to bring it in somewhere between 3/4 of an inch and an inch so that I don't use as much paper. So I'm going to do a quick trim on this just so I can show you what I mean. So there's my mark. So this is the size of the piece that I ended up using. And here is the full size of those two borders. So I was able to conserve a couple inches of that paper, which when you're buying really nice paper and you're loving it is a good thing. So just a tip for today. I'm working on some of the embellishments for this page, and I wanted to show you this little technique just in case you haven't seen it before. One of the things that I grabbed out of my stash were these little wooden shapes. So this happens to be just a collection of little wooden flowers. And I grabbed a few that I thought I might want to use on this page, but I didn't really want to leave them the natural wood. So I have these powder puff chalk inks, and these work wonderful on wood and chipboard. So I literally am just using the whole surface of the stamp pad to add some color to this little wooden shape. So I'm going to do one in that turquoise. This is called Bora Bora. These are sold by Quick Quotes. well, the brand is Quick Quotes. I usually get them through a company called A to Z Scrapbooking, but there are, I think you can get them from Quick Quotes directly as well. I will look for a link and put one in the description if you're interested in these kind of pads. They're kind of a dry ink, so they're called chalking inks, but they just work so well for this kind of thing. So there's kind of a burgundy, and I've got my turquoise, and I'm going to do one more with this burgundy. This one is getting a little bit dry. So if you can hold your shape a little still and rub, that can work a little bit better, especially if they're not new. And this one I've had for quite a long time. I'm going to add a little bit more color to this one. And I think the turquoise one is good. It's already got a good deep layer of ink. So just wanted to share that little trick with you. If you have some little wooden shapes, you know, distress inks with a dauber would probably work well too. I just didn't have any colors that were just right for what I wanted to do. So just a quick picture at creating some embellishments. The other thing that I am bringing in to this particular layout is one of these, I don't know, I think they're vintage Epiphany punches that you use with little acrylic pieces. So the acrylic that you put in is adhesive, and then you hit that punch, you've got your paper in here. And I have created a few flower centers with this that I'm hoping to use on this page as well. So I will be back in just a moment and we'll get it all laid out. Okay, to make it a little bit easier to show you this technique, I went ahead and attached the photos to that white background paper. So I want to show you just a piece of this that's important. When you are doing this kind of a method where you're not going to back the photos, and especially if you're using a really light background paper that you don't want to show, then you want to make sure that you get your photos all the way to the edges, okay? So I worried about that piece and getting them all the way to the edge first. And it doesn't matter that there's this gap here, and I'll show you why in just a second. These are full 4x6 photos, so I was able to fit 4 on this page and 4 on this page. So obviously those are the stars of the show, but that does not mean that what we're doing here can't be beautiful and a really nice touch all by itself. So what I did was cut some 1/4-inch strips of that burgundy paper that's going to be, remember there's going to be a big strip of it here and there's going to be a big strip of it here, because I didn't want to use 2 full sheets of that burgundy background paper. That's just such a waste. So let me show you what I'm going to do. So with these little 1/4-inch strips, I'm just using a tape runner. And then I am going to go right along the seam of these photos, right on top of them, edge to edge. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. Now, I'm not going to need this entire strip. I could have cut it ahead of time down to 8 inches, but I didn't. So I'm going to go ahead and tape that one right over top. So without doing anything to the edges, because I don't have to, those go, you know, really beautifully. The photos go right to the edge, but this seals that seam and just kind of creates that illusion of there being a full sheet of paper in the background. Okay, so let me set this one aside, and we'll do this one, and then we'll move on with the next steps. So again, 1/4-inch strip. This will be my full length one. So I really like this method when I've got just pictures that I really don't want to cut down. if I want to hold on to every bit of that scenery, then this is a great way to do it. And across, just following that seam in the photos. And then a little trim. So let's go ahead and just start laying out the rest of this so that you can see how it's going to come together. I don't want to make you watch while I tape everything down. That doesn't sound like fun, but I can at least get it laid out so you can get the idea. And then I'll take some photos at the end of how it all ended up coming together. So here's that burgundy piece that's going to go there. And then with the way that I cut that frill, remember, yeah, it looks weird on the back, but I saved a bunch of that paper, and I can decide if I want to show just a tiny bit of the scallop or if I want to show more. That's really up to you when you're designing. But I'm going to have this come close up to that edge. I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap because I wanted to seal that with this really beautiful patterned turquoise paper. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing over here. Turquoise on the bottom, and then the layering with that funky frills. I did already ink these pieces all with the vintage photo ink. So you can kind of get an idea now how it's all framed in. So I'm really happy with these colors and how it's going so far. I've got this little tag I showed you I was going to cut. This is from that new expression set. And then I pulled out these little guys. This little tag says, "I never want to stop making memories with you." And this is my husband and I. So I just thought it'd be cute to put like that. This was the one I cut using that citrus template. And it's going to go somewhere over here. And then I just have to show you this handful of, of goodies that I'm going to start playing with. So I cut several blossoms, leaves, used the fern a la carte, just the tip of it, to cut some little yellow pieces, several different colors and things going on here. I also have those wooden floral shapes that I did with the chalk ink. And then I made several centers for the flowers with that epiphany punch. So I just used some of the papers that came along with this. The only paper that I added today was that white cardstock for the background. And then I pulled some yellow out of an old August travel kit. I did not want to use the yellow that came in this kit, this month's kit, because it was the back side of this floral. And I just know that I'm going to do a lot more with this floral. It's absolutely gorgeous and I don't want to waste it. So I did cut a few of the little fern pieces out of this yellow, and then these two little guys. So the other thing that I've got to add some little floral embellishments into my clusters are these little tiny flowers. These are some Prima paper flowers that I just really love. They're a great little accent. They've got a little beaded center. And then it's possible that I will pull in some of these. These are Paper Studio, so I believe that's Hobby Lobby. I think the turquoise is maybe too turquoise, but that other lighter color might work really well as a little pop. And we'll see about the turquoise. I don't know. We'll see when I start to lay them out. So I am going to start creating some clusters. I'm going to play with that off camera, but I will include some close-ups at the end of the video. So stay tuned to the end if you want to get some ideas for creating some clusters. Otherwise, make sure that you click through that list that's in the description and check out everybody's video. Don't forget to comment so that you can be entered in the drawing, hopefully multiple times. So once for each video that you comment on. And I wish you the best of luck in getting your hands on a new set of Kiwi Lane templates. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you learned something new today. Don't forget to leave a comment and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.